On the 10th of June 2020, the NDC's presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, had this to say. The NDC will not accept the results of a flawed election. What constitutes a flawed election, if I may ask? Maybe John Mahama and his NDC have their own definition for a flawed election, and that was demonstrated in their passionate opposition to the compilation of a new and a credible voter register. It may interest you to know that in the frantic effort of the NDC and their cohorts at preventing this nation from having a Ghanaian citizen-based voter register instead of that of an ECOWAS register, the chairman of the NDC and some smaller parties whose leadership were bought by the NDC wrote a petition to the ECOWAS. In the said petition, they accused the EC, among other things, of being biased. What was their reason for such a sweeping allegation? Your guess is as right as mine. Quote, "We woke up to an announcement from our country's EC that it has decided to compile a new voters register for the 2020 election, given the high tension and mutual suspicions presently among the stakeholders. We wish to urgently invite ECOWAS to dispatch a fact-finding and mediation team to Ghana to engage with the stakeholders, especially political parties and electoral commission and civil society organizations, as part of preemptive measures targeted at preventing the potential plunge of the country into unnecessary conflict, confusion, and anarchy." From the foregoing, the NDC strategy is plain and simple: give the dog a bad name and then hang it. Therefore, John Mahama and his NDC have carefully unleashed their propaganda machinery to paint a picture of a bad EC and a bad security situation in this country. When that agenda is accomplished, they can now reject the will of the good people of Ghana at the December polls, knowing very well that they are not in a comfortable lead. This evening, we will bring you the facts because we know that you are too smart to be hoodwinked by the NDC's propaganda. My name is Vincent Assefoa, the parliamentary candidate for the good people of Otafu constituency, and I'm your host for this show, Majority Caucus on JoyNews. We are also live on all NPP social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You are most welcome. My name is Vincent Assefoa Jr. Today, we have in the studios the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party. He has been a national youth organizer for the party, and at the time that he was the youth organizer, we all know what he did for the party. In 2016, he secured a giant victory for the New Patriotic Party. And currently, his work as a national organizer is seen by all as far as Ghanaians are concerned. Today, he's in our studios to talk about the topic under discussion: security and the Electoral Commission. Honorable Awuku, most welcome to Majority Caucus.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Vincent Assefoa. I'm not honorable yet, so Awuku.
Right, Awuku is fine.
Yeah.
The people call him Commander or the couple.
I plead the fifth.
Right.
But good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
Right. I've been around.
You're doing a fantastic job too in Tafo.
Right. Thank you so much.
We wish you well.
This evening, we want to digest on security and Electoral Commission. But first and foremost, let's deal with security issues. There seemed to be a certain attempt by the NDC to paint a certain siege of mentality as to the country's security issues that we have in this country. They are trying to let Ghanaians know that the country is not secure enough, especially getting closer to election 2020. The idea is to make Ghanaians feel that the country is insecure. And on the back of what happened in Mankasim, that is the Infantiman, the New Patriotic Party's parliamentary candidate, who also passed on. They seem to be making this kind of noise and trying to make Ghanaians know that the country is not secure. You are the national organizer for the party. Of course, you are also a government appointee sitting on the board of the YEA. What is the government strategy in making sure that we deal with security issues in this country?
Well, first of all, let me say a very good evening to your cherished viewers. No one can anticipate a time of disaster, as the book of Ecclesiastes will say. It's like a fish caught in a cruel net or a bird caught in a wicked trap. So are humans caught at a time of calamity when it suddenly falls upon them. I'm saying this because, and I'm quoting this biblical verse, because what happened to our brother is something that I'm still here to come to terms with. Reprehensible, people motivated by hate, and people determined to cause harm to someone unjustly. For anybody to also to attempt to stretch this in a couple of unfortunate instances to mean that the nation is not secured beats my imagination. I hate to embark on comparative analysis when it comes to human lives, but sometimes it's important that we also revisit past events. The Ghana we know today, and thanks to President Akufo-Addo and the NPP, the Ghana Police Service, the Ghana Armed Forces, and the other security agencies are more equipped and much equipped than they were in 2016. Crime has become very sophisticated lately and all across the world. Every day in the intelligence world, they are advancing. Because while you're looking towards left, someone is operating on your right. And so time and over again, we all have to also help cooperate with the security agencies, assist them with information, and also report any suspicious activity. I am not one of the people who is of the belief that we are insecure. I think it's part of the NDC's narrative to push that agenda, but because we've had 1, 2, 3 precious lives, we can stretch that to mean we're not secured. We've had some instances in the past. The Sekwahene was killed under the NDC. The NDC's own district chief executive in the Volta region was also murdered right in front of his house. And a couple of instances, the broadcaster from the Ashanti region, who was also a GJ executive there, was also murdered by unknown assailant. And many of these instances that we had, the MPP also did promise that even though crime seems to be taking a different turn, the first thing we need to do is to make sure these security agencies, they are much equipped to also combat crime. His Excellency the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, on every occasion that he's had to also address the grievances and address the concerns and address issues affecting the security agencies, he's lived up to the billing. Gone a step further to make life more comfortable for them to also have enough equipment and tools to work with. If you do not gift the person those opportunities and tools, equipment, and whatever to work with, you're only sending the person to a battlefield without taking, into consideration the person's precious life. We've had instances where the security agencies, they came under firepower under the previous administration, and they didn't even have bullets to even return fire for fire. I am today convinced that in terms of robbery, it's reduced. If you recall, somewhere 2017, 2018 was a bit high. Right. Today, reported cases of robbery as compared to what we used to witness, it's come down considerably. But we need to do more to have a situation where we don't even record robbery cases. That is the ideal situation. Right. And we will strive together. Now, on what happened to our Member of Parliament, and what happened to the University Dome, we believe that the security agencies are also up to the task. Things might be slow, but I know definitely they'll get to the bottom of it. I know that they've had leads, and they are almost there when it comes to also arresting the perpetrators of the heinous crime, those who took away the life of the Honorable Member of Parliament. If we talk about security, I believe that we are all also responsible for our own personal security. I'm saying this because we are not in normal times. When I say we are not in normal times, what I do also mean is that we're getting closer to elections. Crime, and most especially when it's getting closer to general elections, criminals also hide behind activities of the political parties. So you might even mistake them to be people embarking on political activities for any of these political parties. So the security agencies must also look into that direction. What happened to our Member of Parliament and a couple of others that have been told with the little briefing that I've had, it's a clear case of people trying to take advantage of the political season we are in, campaigning activities, the movement here and there to also undermine the efforts of the security agents. But then, if you also talk about what is happening to these secessionist groups, I am still shocked that we've not had the NDC leadership taking a very commanding position. But that happens to be the stronghold of the NDC. And why they believe that the activities of these saboteurs and people seeking to undermine the efforts of government in trying to build a strong, cohesive, united Ghana. It amazes me. It's as if they are trying to benefit from the activities, the actions of these rogues, of these people seeking to also take the position that Ghana should be shredded into pieces or some should be given to them. I am convinced that we are on top of the issue, and definitely the security apparatus will also nip every activity of this group in the bud. But on the issue of security in general, I think we are better off today than we were in 2016.
No, but the point you just made, let me try to let the Ghanaian people also know what we've indeed done under His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government. With respect to the fact that the police, the Ghana Armed Forces, they are well equipped.
That's true.
As compared to 2016. Now, from 2017 to 2020, and what His Excellency the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has been able to do for the security services. Government has procured about 568 vehicles for the Ghana Police Service. Now again, the government of Ghana has also dedicated about $500 million to provide accommodation for the Ghana Armed Forces. Again, the government has also provided about 320 housing units that are being put up by the Ghana Police Service. Again, the government has also increased the peacekeeping allowance from $31 to $35. Now, the government has also released about $13 million to clear all peacekeeping arrears owed the security forces. These things I'm saying is just to corroborate the point that the national organizer, Awuku, just made, that the police forces, if like the security services, are well equipped under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as compared to John Dramani Mahama's administration. Again, about $86 million approved for the purchase of armored vehicles for the armed forces. Also, 3 helicopters have been procured for the police service. 20 horses have been procured for the police to help in crowd control. About 800 million Ghana cedis has been earmarked for retooling of the police services. Government has given approval for the recruitment of over 7,000 police personnel to augment the current plate. And so, national organizer, what it means is that the NDC does not have the moral authority if you compare the John Dramani Mahama's security sector and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's security sector, as to say that Ghana is not safe or Ghana is insecure. And the point that you've made is revealing. But it is also interesting to know that the General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Ketia, is also alleging that the government is issuing some weapons from the state armory to about 4,000 vigilantes. These are things that I don't know.
That is just a propaganda piece.
Right.
But I'll also come to that and deal with that extensively.
Right.
I think one thing you also left out was that we have also purchased 2 marine boats to enhance security along the country's territorial waters. And this is also to help protect our offshore oil and gas installations.
Well, the first of its kind,
yes.
I guess.
Again, we've also enhanced police cyber security and cyber crime fighting capabilities. And then with this, what I mean is that we have a computer emergency response team center, which has been set up with the NCA about training the police on cyber security, and it's also ongoing. Again, Ghana was also adjudged the most peaceful country by the Global Peace Index in Sub-Saharan Africa, in West Africa. In 2016, we were 6th most peaceful country in West Africa. Be as it may, for the NDC is campaign time. So everything must be boxed into the political equation.
Right.
And to also paint a false sense that people are not secured and people are afraid to even step out That cannot be true, and that is also not corroborated by facts on the ground. As for their general secretary, you always have to give it up for him. He is specializing in the area of propaganda.
Right.
And this is a core cause that he holds so dear to his heart. This was a party whose general secretary, even at that time, alluded, after Fifi Kwete made that pronouncement, that President Kufuor has sold the gold reserves, which was in the bottom of the Bank of Ghana. It turned out to be false. They also did say that the NPP, they published fake bank accounts and pictures of supposed houses of NPP appointees in 2008. And then when later they were pinned and pushed to the wall, they said, oh, they heard it somewhere and they said it. Recently, they also concocted an audio reporting to be that of a BBC correspondent or broadcaster that over 26 million pounds had been seized from a Ghanaian official. Later on, it turns out not to be true. So we are in an era where if you don't take good care of your ears, you are likely to suffer from what the NDC they are churning out. And we are also determined as a political party to also separate the truth from the false that is being churned out by our opponent. And I want to commend the MPP's communications team, the party side led by Yabo Abiyan Samoa, and out of the campaign side led by Sheikh Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid. They've done a fantastic job so far in active collaboration with the Ministry of Information, led by our Minister for Information, Gojo Oponkroma. This tripod, they've demonstrated their capability to also ward off these propaganda attacks from our opponent.
Now, talking about issues of propaganda,
so what I want to put on record is that the government, neither the government nor the MPP, whether acting together or separately, have distributed these weapons he's talking about. In fact, Ghana Revenue Authority also came out in a statement to debunk what the NDC did put out. And we also believe that it's high time that the security agencies, they also take some of these comments very seriously. And whoever has information is invited to also substantiate the allegations or deal with the person also drastically. Because these comments, they end up being represented on the online portals. It disgraces our country on the international level. And we cannot allow this to also go on. I mean, it destroys the image of the country, and people believe that this whole thing should be about the next election, but not about the next generation of our country.
The NDC seem to be following the footsteps of their leader, John Dramani Mahama.
They are reading and operating from one hymn book.
Absolutely. So there's a video. There's a video that I want to show for the people of Ghana to know why the NDC is almost lying about everything. It's a grand scheme to create an impression that the country is insecure. Producers, let me see this video.
You know, say it drew election timer. Na Awuku bia epre. Nti ne obeka bia ama nipa akoma adane ama o eno na obeka. Nti entra now they film. No cry now they film. Ya de frafra. No cry no ho yenka. Na ya de intro film. Na
So this is what John Dramani Mahama meant. For those of you who can't speak or understand Chi, he says that in an electioneering campaign, what you need to do as a politician is to lie, and to lie. You have to peddle falsehood so that the Ghanaian people will believe that the falsehood that is being peddled may be seen as the truth. And this is what the leader of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, told the good people of Ghana in 2016.
I mean, it's not surprising, and let me make it clear. If you take page 93, 94 of the NDC's manifesto for 2012, they said, and they promised to pay assemblymen. That's page 93/94 of the NDC's 2012 manifesto. And they were in government from 2012.
Yes.
And they never even mentioned it when they won political power in 2012. So thinking that the people have forgotten. Now, page 113 of the NDC's manifesto for 2020, they are repeating the same promise. In 2008, They said they were going to institute a one-time health insurance premium. Okay, they won 2008, decided to suffer from deliberate memory loss. So they deleted that from their memory card. Now 2020, after 8 years when they were in government, left office, back campaigning, they are promising free primary health care. This is a party that the only consistent thing about them is their inconsistencies. So Mr. Mahama, unfortunately for him, this time we don't have that short memory. And that is why we keep reminding ourselves. Again, some of the things that they are even mentioning, they are not too sure of what is happening in the country. And I give you a typical example. They have a plan to establish the Ghana College of Nurses and Midwives. That's if you check their page 64 of the NDC's 2020 manifesto. Unfortunately for them, it has already been established. So what is Mr. Mahama talking about? Then again, they also talk about facilitating exchange programs for health personnel. What they forget is that this government has already started that policy, and that's why we have some health professionals in Barbados now. It's part of the exchange program. Again, they also talk about implementing tax waivers in order to assist health workers to acquire means of transport to respond to emergency calls. That's page 64 of the NDC's manifesto. Implement tax waivers in order to assist health workers to acquire means of transport. However, in 2013, Mr. Mahama and the NDC, they cancelled that tax waiver, which was on imported vehicles for health professionals.
Right.
So they seem to be playing with the minds of the people. And that is why, I mean, he's courageous and bold to say that, look, in an electioneering campaign, you have to lie a little, you have to add a bit of truth. But for them in the NDC, you have to lie more, some little truth in it. But that is not sustainable politics. Because as many of our people keep getting educated, thanks to Akufo-Addo's free SHS policy, if this continues after Akufo-Addo's reign in 2024, God willing, another administration of the MPP also takes over. If we move that way, and I know a time will come, definitely. We won't be in power forever as a political party. But even if in the next 20 years, in the next 16 years, in the next 30 years, another party also assumes the reins of government and continue with this policy of educating our people, Ghana someday will have an educated population of almost 90%, as you have in the Asian tigers, in Malaysia, in Singapore, in South Korea. So, yes, Mr. Mahama, unfortunately, this time around, we believe that we are up to the task. We believe that we no longer have short memories. We shall remember that a particular administration ensured that our kids were using bobo or lantern, or were using the light from a vehicle to do their homework in front of Joy FM and in front of multimedia. We shall remember that the time came when we were on your way home, you have to call and ask, Charlie, light day, light no day. We shall remember that someone once told us that free SHS will take us 20 years. But the government came and he has implemented it. And he did that within the first 12 months of his administration. We shall also remember that someone said that over his dead body, will he restore the teacher training, nursing training, and Arabic instructors allowance. Another administration led by Akufo-Addo came, and he has implemented. So we shall remember that indeed it was Mr. Mahama who was still our president, who deliberately and also rendered the Okada business illegal. But today he wants political power, and he's telling us that he's going to legalize it. We shall also remember that it was under that administration that Ghana lacked policy credibility, so had to run to the IMF for policy credibility. And lastly, we shall remember that there was an incompetent administration in place from 2012 to 2016. And we have a competent one holding the fort and taking us to our destination.
So I get the impression that this election is about credibility issues. Now, the point you are raising now clearly suggests that the NDC is losing the credibility debate because clearly we've seen the governance of John Dramani Mahama from 2012 to 2016, the same Ghanaian people have also witnessed the governance of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. These two people are standing for this election as far as the 2020 December elections is concerned. Now, when we have to debate on issues of governance, sector by sector, clearly the NDC have lost the debate. It is so, or it is the reason why the NDC seem to be peddling falsehood, trying to bring about issues that are lies just to hoodwink the good people of Ghana. Because just last 2 or 3 days, I listened to Yusuf Husseini. He is a former minister for roads and transport, or roads and highways.
Yeah, and he's also been admired.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Lance.
And I heard him quoting something from a fake website.
Oh, but you're going too far.
Graphic GH.
No, but Echo, you're going too far on even Yusuf Husseini, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Tamale Central.
Right.
President Mahama himself.
Right.
There was this time that the Daily Post put out a fake publication.
Right.
Likewise, also circulated on the NDC's media portals that I had written to the Minister for Interior and the Minister for National Security, asking them to grant me access and that of vigilante groups to be trained there. You saw that fake?
Yes.
Mr. Mahama, at a party gathering in London, in fact, spoke to that document and said just today a letter has popped up, which was signed by the national organizer, myself. And this thing could have been easily cross-checked. But at least I've done this politics for some time.
Yeah.
People should credit some of us with some basic conventional wisdom.
Yes.
So me, national organizer, I will write a letter on official party letterhead, assuming I'm even criminally minded. Right. Write a letter, address to the security minister, and address one to the interior minister, and take it there to their respective offices. It goes through the channel, and the letter is received and recorded by secretaries, and then placed on record. I mean, come on. But that is the level of depravity we find ourselves in. So, Yusuf Husseini, he's only learning from the leader. And that is what I'm saying. You're only a leader when you turn and the people are following you. Yes. The moment a leader you turn and the people are no longer following you, then you are taking a walk. Then you are no longer leading them. I am convinced that the NDC, they are trying to play tricks with the whole electoral system. Lately, they've been talking about, a grand scheme to rig the elections. They won't accept flawed elections. First of all, if you talk about the electoral register, as we have now, I believe that it reflects our current demography. Right. And it also reflects the population size. Strangely, the NDC, they were so much against the compilation of a new voters register. An exercise that was going to ensure that we all start afresh and from counting 1, 2, 3 up to the new number of the total registered voters we have. You have a discussion on the Electoral Commission, but it's important for me to reiterate the point that government's commitment to security issues is far better as compared to John Dramani Mahama's administration. It is important for if you check page 116 of the NDC's manifesto, they talk about, that's the first point they make there, that they are going to disband vigilante groups when they win. Page 116. Meanwhile, the government has disbanded it, and even through an act of parliament, it's coming to force. So I don't get it.
It is almost the same.
The political parties who consented to a peace accord. The NDC, they were the last political party. The NDC was the last political party to append its signature. They didn't believe in the process, and right from day one, they were lackadaisical towards the whole peace building process. So you now come to me and tell me that, okay, the first thing you will do in page 116 when you win political power will be to disband vigilante groups when it has already been disbanded and outlawed.
The same thing that they did with the implementation of the free senior high school education. They said that they are now going to include private schools to be part of the free senior high school education, when clearly the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana does not allow government resources or funds to be used to sponsor private institutions. The Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, not an act of parliament, not any other law, but the highest law that governs this country. Yet, they fail to even recognize it and put it in their manifesto. But it's also important for me to reiterate the point that government has procured about 568 vehicles for the police service.
That's true.
It has also dedicated about $500 million to provide accommodation for the Ghana Armed Forces. It has also provided 320 housing units that are being put up for the Ghana Police Service. Government has also increased the peacekeeping allowances from $31 to $35. Government has released $13 million to clear all peacekeeping arrears owed the security forces. $86 million approved for the purchase of armored vehicles for the armed forces. Also, 3 helicopters have been procured for the police service. 20 horses have been procured for the police to help in crowd control. 800 million Ghana cedis has been earmarked for retooling of the police services. Government has given approval for the recruitment of over 7,000 police personnel to augment the current police. We will go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will deal with the Electoral Commission issues. You are most welcome. My name is Vincent Akwasifor Jr. and we have in the studios the national organizer of the new Patriotic Party, Same Awuku. Now, Same will let us know one or two things about the security apparatus, the things that the government has been able to do, not only for the Ghana police, but also the fire service and the other people. Then quickly we'll just zoom into the Electoral Commission.
We have 17 stations which have been completed.
Right.
And then we are also providing 5 fire stations which are also ongoing. So that we've improved the accommodation situation of the Ghana Armed Forces. We spoke about their peace keeping allowances also adjusted and moved up. And also, if you also talk about to curb the proliferation of small and light weapons, and what we've done is that we have the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons under the Weapons Collection and Destruction Program. They've collected in excess of 2,892 illicit firearms. In addition, there's also an ongoing exercise to mark weapons of the security agencies and to collect and destroy seized and illicit small arms. So far we've done very well when it comes to one, retooling the security agencies, giving them the maximum support, and also encouraging them to also move beyond their comfort zone to secure all of us. Right.
Sami, on April 4, 2016, when John Dramani Mahama was the President of the Republic, he boldly told the people of Ghana that we should allow the EC to work. That was the Charlotte Osei-led Electoral Commission. Fast forward in 2020, he's no more the president, and now the Danko Akufo-Addo is the president. I come back to what you said. The only consistent thing about John Dramani Mahama is his inconsistencies. Why today he's attacking the Electoral Commission, the same Electoral Commission that he told the people of Ghana in 2016 that we should allow them to work?
You know, interestingly, sometimes I struggle to understand the NDC's position. They say this today and they say this tomorrow. And they lack that consistency when it comes to sticking to a policy position or a principled position. I say this because if indeed you believe that the Electoral Commission should be left to do their work uninterrupted, and even they shouldn't be criticized, then today if you're in opposition, you should hold that same position. It's a principled position. What the MPP was advocating for ahead of the 2016 election was a new voters register. Is that not correct?
Absolutely.
And that was what led to, you know, our severe beatings by operatives for national security and that of the Ghana Police Service during the Let My Vote Count demonstration. Where some of us and some other members of the opposition were targeted and beaten to pulp. Fast forward under President Akufo-Addo, when there was this movement formed by Mr. Bernard Mona and his team, operating or agitating and demonstrating against the compilation of a new voters register. Internally, they burnt tires. They caused destruction. But then the Ghana Police Service never even raised a finger. Still protected them through to the end of the demonstration. If today The NDC's position is that because it's not Charlotte Osei,
yes,
it's Jane Mensah. So every turn we have to criticize and hit hard. Then they should also come out and apologize to the opposition at that time for criticizing what we believe was a position that we disagreed with the then Electoral Commission.
Right.
And the NDC's position, especially on the EC, I haven't really been able to get to the bottom of what exactly they want to push. Why? Because, one, you said the new voters register was going to help spread the virus. That was their first position. So the first day of the registration exercise, media houses, their midday news, their evening news, their morning news, day so and so of the voters register compilation, characterized by no social distancing and no face mask, this, and then they will mention the figures of the COVID in terms of those who had contracted it and all.
Right.
Through it all, the Electoral Commission had also provided every electoral area, every registration center with Veronica buckets, with sanitizers,
tissues and soaps,
and soap. But then today, I listen to the news all the time. Now they don't talk about active cases again, because they realize that this government has been tough, has been strong, and navigated well. He's seen us through this COVID.
Right.
Unlike other nations, where today they are almost on their knees, the economy battered and shattered. But we have been able to still put ourselves together. The little we've been able to manage, secured our country. If today, Mr. Dramani Mahama's position is that everything the Electoral Commission does is wrong, and especially in the run-up to the election, then that is an inconsistent position to take. And I tell you what, the same presidential candidate of the NDC did indicate that he was satisfied with the process after the registration exercise. You recall, he said he was satisfied with the process and was satisfied with the turnout and everything that happened. Now then they come out again and they tell you that, look, the MPP is instead setting a stage to rig the election, the register was this, the register was that. Me, any position you take today, stand through it and be consistent, even when it's at the peril of your life.
Absolutely.
And that is consistency. The NPP started advocating for a new voters register.
It's 2012.
After 2012. In 2012, there was one.
Yes.
We believe that it had issues with it. And it was clear after the 2012 presidential election. And even in the Supreme Court ruling, they also did indicate. Because, look, you cannot have a situation where you said you registered thousands and thousands of people abroad. Provide a list of it and you provide us with 700 plus. When you registered in excess of 200 and something thousand. So we then said, let's clean the register. Charlotte Osei set up a commission led by the Venerable Justice V.C. R.A.C. Crab.
Yes.
And afterwards, they also detected that you have in excess of 580,000 people.
Yes.
Who had passed on into glory, but still had their names in the voters register. That still makes it bloated. I'm not saying after compiling a new register now, nobody in it has passed on, but at least it has reduced significantly the margins of error.
Right. Sammy, if you check some foreign ratings, especially the Economic Intelligence Unit predicting that Ghana is going to win, Fish Solution, an American-based rating.
That the NPP and Anado will make victorious.
Is it the fear of these ratings, and for that matter, the John Dramani Mahama's team and the people who are actually in his campaign trail, seeing the imminent failure or the imminent loss as far as this election is concerned? Is that what is contributing to the fears and the reason why they are trying to attack the EC, so that when the elections are done and they've lost the elections, they are now going to say that the Electoral Commission is the problem for their loss?
Well, you are so right on all the points you've made. But taking you back a bit, when the EC set up that eminent advisory body, the NDC said it wasn't necessary. But when they were agitating for a new voters register, they went to meet the eminent advisory body.
Yes.
So I have said it. I said the only consistent thing about them is their inconsistencies. Because these are people you cannot take their word to the bank. Because you know that you get there and they will tell you it's a bad check. And that is exactly the situation we find ourselves in. So you've had all these international bodies, including local predictions, predicting a win for the NPP's presidential candidate and for the New Patriotic Party in the presidential and parliamentary polls. Defeat is not something any politician wishes for or you wish for. However, when it comes, Nanado said something after the Supreme Court ruling. He said, as a politician, you take the high with the low. Because it's not all the time that you get to benefit as a victor in the process. There will be times that for you, you know that, look, you did put in your effort, but the people rejected you at the polls. I'm surprised at Mr. Mahama, because he's been through it all. He's been one of the people who has gone to the political school. He's been an assembly member before. He's been a presiding member before. He's been a member of parliament before. He's been a deputy minister before. He's been a minister. He's been a vice president. He's been a president. And he's been a former president.
Yes.
So almost every level of our governance structure, he's participated in it. However, his moment of glory did not come when he became president. He failed to live up to the billing. He failed to also secure our country. He failed to provide us with the kind of leadership that we're all looking for. And so definitely the Ghanaian people had to take a decision. The people rejected him overwhelmingly. And unless he believes that that decision was an error, that is why he's coming. And the Otumfuo Osei-Tutu was right when he said, tell the people about their mistakes and how you are going to also correct them, more or less. I'm paraphrasing. And up to date, we don't know the mistakes that he made.
He didn't implement the free SHS. He failed to pay the teacher training allowances. He failed to pay the nursing training allowances.
Let me take you to the NDC's manifesto again, page 68 to 70 of the NDC's 2020 manifesto.
Right.
Maintain the status quo with regards to payment of allowances for teacher and training nurses. Let me ask you, which status quo is Mr. Mahama talking about? The status quo that he left office with, which was to cancel.
Yes.
Or the status quo of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo restoring it. You cannot leave a test statement, a very vague one, and tell me that I should make some logic out of it. Again, they said introduce teacher motivation, page 69, 721. That's NDC's manifesto. Interestingly, they cancelled the teacher training allowance, an Arabic instructors allowance. They cancelled it. But now here you are telling us that you introduce teacher motivation. What is teacher motivation? Teacher motivation, supporting them for their conditions of service to be improved, and also assisting them with extra income.
Yes.
But you cancelled it when people were training to take up that job in the classroom.
Today, every year, every teacher is going to get 1,200 cedis for professional development.
That is
non-teaching staff are also going to get 600 Ghana cedis annually for professional development. So I don't know what you're talking about.
And you made a very valid point from the beginning when you said it was going to extend SHS to the private institution. Mahama himself in 2016 said free education would destroy Ghana's education system.
Yes.
And now in 2020, he says free SHS will cover private students. You see, there was this guy in the US politics called John Kerry in 2004 when he was contesting against George W. Bush, Bush's second term. And Kerry had a position where anytime there was crisis, he would say, oh, when I come, I'll cancel this. And then the Bush administration will fix it. So, okay, when I come, I'll review it or I'll continue.
And they will fix it.
So they called him where the wind blows. That's where he goes. When you started free SHS, I'm saying you because you are part of the education ministry.
Yes.
The first year, we saw increase in enrollment. The government and the Ministry of Education had to be creative in ensuring that no child is left behind. So we introduced the double track. But the NDC said, when the numbers shot up, they said, oh, we told you that free SHS was bad. When we come, we are going to cancel it. We are going to review it. And then you made it better. With a double track, you are talking about a situation where some will go for this period, come back, get their colleagues in, as government is expanding the infrastructure within the educational institution in excess of 1,000 plus of these facilities, either completed or almost completed. Yes. Classrooms, dormitories, dining halls, administrative blocks. So it gets to a time, and it will get to a time in the next couple of years, many of these institutions will leave the double track brackets because they have the facilities to absorb them. This is a government that thinks about the future. But interestingly, NDC said double track was bad. But if you go to their employment sector in their manifesto, they said they are going to run a shift system. 3. Some will work 8 to this, another one works this to that, and another one works at dawn. Shift system. So, I don't know, but Echo, the good thing is that you have a sincere government. And a government that will tell you, this is what I can do. And when you vote for me, this is what I promise. They proposed our 1D1F policy. They said it wasn't possible. Even when Ekunfi Jews, Eku Jews started, producing, the NDC said, oh, the thing doesn't exist. Even when they are holding packs of it, they say it doesn't exist. But fast forward, if you talk about Commander Sugar Factory, myself, I was youth leader at that time. I never saw not even a sachet or a cube produced from the Commander Sugar Factory. And on record, is the only sugar factory in the world that ended up producing air instead of sugar for the people. Because nobody ever saw the sugar they produced. But the NDC would then give you an artwork on social media and say the Commander Sugar Factory has arrived. But this time you see the things, Casa de Ropa, you see the tomato processing factories. And what the Akufo-Addo administration has done, we start reaping its benefit, give yourself 5 years. That is when many of these factories, in economics, they call something lax. It takes time for you to see the full benefit. And when that time comes, that is when anything you touch, made in Ghana, produced in Ghana, this. And in the whole value chain, you are creating jobs for the people. Anytime you buy a foreign tomato paste, you've created jobs for someone in Vicenza, in Verona, in Napoli, or Palermo, in Italy. But this time around, the person cultivating a tomato farm in Kufie, Japan's Afrancho or Akomadan, or in Techimentia or Techiman, or elsewhere, they know that when they produce or when they harvest their tomatoes, there's a factory that is also going to process it. And then in the value chain, someone is also going to market it. Someone is also going to consume it. This is a government that thinks about the entire cycle. Not a government that will hoodwink you and say, come for a TV. Or what kind of TV? So it's very big, it's nice. You exchange your color TV with black and white. Unfortunately, they don't even add the remote to it for you. You come back and for 4 years, you're staring at the TV that will neither show you pictures nor neither talk to you. That is what the NDC want to do.
Now, I'll let my producer show this video. On the 10th of June 2020, what John Dramani Mahama said as far as a supposed flawed election is concerned. He is saying that he's not going to accept any flawed election as far as the 2020 December election is concerned. So let's listen to John Dramani Mahama.
We in the NDC have exhibited restraint at all times in this electoral process. Even now, we're committed to doing so. But let me serve notice once again that we will not accept the result of a flawed election.
Most welcome. 7 hours last comment.
It's unfortunate. However, the president of the country, he's also indicated that he doesn't want to be winner of crooked elections.
Absolutely.
And we want to assure the NDC and Mr. Mahama that the process will be free, will be fair, will be transparent. I don't speak for the EC, but I speak for the MPP side. We don't want to be favored in this process, and we don't want the NDC to be favored in this process. Let's all get to the grounds. That is where the job is. And then at the end of the day, I've told you, I was telling someone this afternoon on a sister network of multimedia on Asempa with Obi this afternoon that the best opinion poll will be conducted on the 7th of December. And the vote of thanks will be given on the 8th of December. And then you all know our smoothness level on the 9th of December. We are determined to take our message to the ground. We are winning, but we must win. And that is why you can see the momentum is building, and our people are determined to ensure that we do not just secure victory, but we make sure that victory is secured and secured properly. Let's all get to the ground, fly your flags. We want to see you with your MPP colors, fly it in your cars, in your homes, and where you live. Let the momentum pick up. This is a party of choice. It's the best family you can belong to. And we believe in people, and we put the welfare of the people at the center. 4 more for Nana, 4 more to do more for you and I.
Sammy Awuku is the national organizer for the New Patriotic Party. It is important for me to say that the 2020 elections is not about a supposed flawed election. It is about the credibility of the 2 presidential candidates. Mr. John Mahama, Ghanaians are going to vote on the basis of free senior high school education. Ghanaians are going to make a decision on the over 100 million Ghana cedis that was stolen from the Ministry of Works and Housing. Ghanaians are going to make a decision for the restoration of the teacher training allowances. Ghanaians again are going to make a decision on the restoration of the nursing training allowances. Ghanaians are going to make a decision on the fact that our lights are on for 4 years, 2012-2016, in the history and annals of this country, where we had our lights off. On this basis, I know that Ghanaians are going to give Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo 4 more years to do more for you. My name is Vincent Akwasifor Jr., and I was ably supported or produced by Goodfellow and Godwin Kusi. Grateful. I'll see you next week. May God bless you all.